Study Session 7. Lessons from Machiavelli's The Prince to Nigerian Politics. Introduction. Our Study Session 6 text on Machiavelli above, which was more of an advice to Lorenzo de' Medici on how best he could rule Florence, has a lot of lessons for Nigerian politics. Such lessons include the avoidance of psychopaths and flatterers, acquisition of good reputation, generous and wise spending of government fund by leaders, superiority of the state over religion, and the assertiveness of the state to control its destiny. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to describe the qualities of a good leader, differentiate between a leader that is feared and one that is not feared, and lastly, explain whatever wrong that is necessary in the context of Machiavelli's advice to the prince. Lessons from Machiavelli's The Prince to Nigerian Politics. Machiavelli in The Prince gave advice to Lorenzo de' Medici. Machiavelli in The Prince gave advice to Lorenzo de' Medici on how the state of Florence should be administered successfully based on his opinions. Machiavelli hence exhibited his love for monarchy, superintended over by a prince, but that as it may, Machiavelli posited that in large and complex societies like contemporary Nigeria, republicanism can be adopted. See Machiavelli, 1910. Machiavelli then posited that since the modern state is too complex to be managed by a single human being, the effective ruler will naturally need to have advisors who assist in governance. He further submitted that choosing the right people for these jobs and employing their services appropriately is among the practical skills most clearly associated with good leadership. Therefore, a good ruler will invariably choose competent companions who offer honest advice in response to specific questions and carry out the business of the state without regard for their private interests. Such people, therefore, deserve the rewards of honor, wealth, and power that unshakably secure their devotion to the leader. See Machiavelli, 1910. The leadership involved in the politics of the Nigerian state should regard this lesson with utmost necessity. Effective and proactive advisors, ministers, and other requisite officials who do not have wealth, aggrandizement, and maximization as their driving force, but the provision of excellent services for the good of the state, should be engaged as officials of government, so that quality leadership will translate into good governance and proliferation of the wills, desires, and wants of the states. In this same vein, Nigerian leadership should purge the centers of power and governance of flatterers and psychopaths whose aim is to plunder the Nigerian state and maximize their own profit margin by issuing the very wrong ideas and advice to the Nigerian leadership. Machiavelli declared thus: "It is safer for the ruler to be feared." See Machiavelli, 1910. Hence, I would say it is better for the Nigerian leader to be feared. This is because he that is feared is often avoided. If the Nigerian leader is feared, maybe due to high-handedness and brutality, most people who do not really have any business going to the leader will not go near him. But on the other hand, if the leader is humane, almost everybody who do not have any business going to the leader will go to him with every frivolous issues they can lay their hands on and end up wasting precious time. A worthwhile example in this regard was when General Muhammadu Buhari was the head of state in Nigeria between 1983 and 1985, and General Tunde Diagbon was his chief of staff, Supreme Headquarters. Due to the high-handedness of the government and perceived brutal nature, most people who would have ordinarily gone to disturb and waste the time of the rulers stayed away from them, while only those with genuine issues approached the leaders. This significantly reduced the activities of flatterers and sycophants. Machiavelli is of the view that the ruler should acquire a good reputation while actually doing whatever wrong seems necessary in the circumstance. See Bull G. 1999 and Pocock 1975 and Sabian and Thorson 1973. For rulers to acquire a good reputation, for instance in Nigeria, they have to be honest, accountable and transparent in all their dealings. This means that Nigerian leaders should strive to be honest, transparent and accountable in government, and should perpetrate whatever wrong seems necessary in the circumstance. Whatever wrong seems necessary in this context should mean, for instance, ditching their godfathers who are piling undue negative pressures on them, not granting contracts to their friends that are not qualified for such, exposing corruptions, discarding favoritism, tribalism, and geocentrism, etc. Doing whatever wrong seems necessary in this circumstance should not mean stealing government funds for private use, hiding all manners and shade of corruption, elimination of political opponents, tribalism, nepotism, and egocentrism. Rather, rulers should execute to the full the function of government to gain a good reputation and do whatever wrong seems necessary in the circumstances by eliminating every impediment to good government. Machiavelli is of the view that rulers should be generous, but spend their money wisely. See Bull J. 1999 and Machiavelli N. 1910. This implies that Nigerian leaders should spend generously and wisely on issues that are of mass appeal, in which majority of the masses will benefit. Such spending includes subsidizing petroleum products, education, healthcare, housing, etc. And to be economical with such issues of minority, appeals such as purchasing a presidential jet, renewal of presidential cars, building of palatial presidential mansions, extravagant furniture, wardrobe and travel allowances, extra, etc. This advice, if heeded, will surely endear the leaders to the masses. Machiavelli is also of the view that the state should be superior to religion, and that religion and the church should be an instrument of the state. What this means to Nigeria is that the state should have the pride of place or primary superiority before religion. One wonders how this plays itself out in the political life of Nigeria, where some microstates have adopted the Sharia principle, and Sharia deals with superiority of Islamic law and not secular laws, that is, the laws of the Nigerian state. On the other hand, religion and the church are expected to be instruments of the state, I guess, to impact morality into the people. The extent to which this is also applicable in Nigeria should not be discussed. This is because churches and mosques in Nigeria are growing at a geometrical rate, while morality is also declining at a geometric rate. Hence, Nigeria is left with almost zero moral content. Therefore, the leadership, religion, that is churches and mosques, have to do something positive in this regard. Machiavelli is also of the view that fate or fortune determines the greater portion of our destinies, but we can still shape our destinies through virtue, that is, variously translated as strength, skill, or prowess, in both favorably and adverse circumstances. What this means to Nigeria is that though fortune helped in determining the bad leadership on ground, but through virtue, The people could also emphatically enthrone a germane leadership, no matter the circumstances on ground or at play. Also, fate has helped to place the nation Nigeria within the third world bracket. But with virtue, Nigeria can break away from the third world bracket and become a formidable power and player in the Committee of Nations. Summary. The political thoughts of Machiavelli has the following lessons to Nigerian politics, and they are: the avoidance of sycophants and flatterers by leaders, the acquisition of good reputation by leaders, engaging in generous but wise spending by leaders, and lastly, assertiveness of the state and individual through virtue to attain its destinies. End of study session 7. Thank you for listening.